All right, Zach, we're recording. Oh,
We
man.
are.
We just went on a.
It was either a second channel video or the greatest Patreon outtake we have ever recorded. We're not sure which yet.
And if you want to find out which, the second channel and the Patreon will both be in the description. You know what? Let's go. Let's just go. Let's just go on the. Let's just do a video. Zach, I got some videos here for you.
Yeah.
All right, I got a couple of Y episodes. You want a good Y?
I would love a Y episode.
All right. I asked you like 50 minutes ago to look up a quote. Did you look it up?
I did.
All right, perfect.
I also came up with a Y episode while I was looking that one up.
Is it a related Y episode?
It's unrelated.
Oh, okay. All right.
If we get through this one quick, we can double shot them maybe.
All right, let's do it. All right. I'm gonna type it up. This is a Y episode where we've found something that appears in A Song of Ice and Fire. And because George Martin very rarely puts things in by accident, it forces us to ask why. Why is that here? What purpose could that possibly serve? My favorite that we've done so far is the one about the volcano. Why is Dragonstone an active volcano? Why have an active volcano in the story, Zach, unless someone is going to do something with that active volcano? That active volcano must erupt. Somebody gets thrown into it. Somebody uses it as a baller forge, right? Something has to happen with that volcano. It's too cool to not do anything with. And this is similar. Hang on, we'll go ahead and go. Oh, I have accidentally saved over. There we go. Control S. There we go. I accidentally saved over the
Screen.
the chalkboard.
That's why I keep a spare version. It's always updated blank on my computer, just in case, because that does happen from time to time.
Varys is mutilated. Do we think that YouTube has a problem with the word mutilated?
No,
Probably not, right?
probably not.
All right. Varys is mutilated at a young age.
I have the quote if you want it.
Yeah, go ahead.
With long hooked blade, he sliced me root and stem, chanting all the while.
We're not picking you up quite perfectly.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
With a long hooked blade, he sliced me root and stem, chanting all the while. I watched him burn my manly parts on a brazier. The flames turned blue, and I heard a voice answer his call, though I do not understand the words they spoke.
Would you like to keep going?
The mummer set sail by the time he was done with me. Once I had served his purpose, the man had no further interest in me, so he put me out. When I asked him what I should do now, he answered he supposed I should die. Despite him, I resolved to live. I begged, I stole, I sold what parts of my body still remained in me.
And then I think maybe a few passages later, he says, since that day I have hated magic and all that and all things associated with it.
Is that from the book or is that from the show?
From the book.
Ooh.
That's from the book. He hates sorcery. And he says, it's possible that I was mad. I was in terrible pain. But what I remember is he asked and a voice answered.
Yeah.
And that's really cool.
Yes.
Are there, Zach, to get us into this, are there other similar sacrifices?
Yes. Well, we see Melisandre sacrifice things to the flame all the time.
Yes.
It doesn't even need to be somebody's whole person. It's the leeches off of Edric Storm that are burned that allow her to see, actually, not even see, cause the deaths of the other kings in the War of the Five Kings. Either you believe she did cause them or she just saw them and believed she caused them. Either way, something magical happened.
To kill Robb Stark, Balon Greyjoy,
Joffrey Baratheon. She also presumably uses Stannis' seed, or something of that sort, to kill Renly with the Shadow Baby.
All right, Zach, I have some questions.
Yeah.
I have some questions. Why does that appear to work?
So, well,
Wow.
now we get in the interesting. What does it mean to have King's blood?
Yes.
Because Edric Storm has King's blood. Is it like is it a metaphysical condition? Like somebody is crowned a king and then you have King's blood? Is it something in the ceremony that does that? Or is King's blood a term for like a more like literal, like, you know, form of ancestry? Did people who have Valyrian origins have amount of King's blood, and the Baratheons, having not too distant Targaryen ancestors, have trace amounts? And Varys has some because he himself is a Blackfire.
Varys appears to be a Blackfire.
Many people speculate that Varys is a Blackfire. Let's be fair.
Many people speculate. Varys appears to be a Blackfire to me.
To me too. But we are the chalkboard full of theories with red arrows people.
Yeah.
So maybe we're not the most reliable narrators.
Excuse me. We are the most reliable narrators on the show.
We are.
That's not actually even true.
Every time Michael talks about stuff shows up, it's like, okay, this guy has taken our nonsense and like cleaned it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's like inviting a pro football player in. He just like dunks all over us while we're making memes.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Strictly speaking, we will be the channel with the most individual videos of correct theories.
We have to.
Yeah.
We absolutely must.
When the books are done and they tally up who got the most right,
Yeah.
by raw numbers, it's going to be us, and by percentage, we're going to be dead last. Tied with Preston.
Yeah, we're gonna have. Yes. That means half of our theories are gonna be right.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I wonder how many videos Preston has.
A lot, but he goes really in depth. Like he in the number. If he had a number of videos we had, he would have only covered 20 theories, and he probably has more than us. But he also has probably only done like what 25, 30, like full theory lineouts.
Yeah, you're probably right. Okay. So I would like to like address a theory that I'm fond of. That Melisandre, you know, she doesn't actually appear to be that magically inclined.
We talked about Melisandre before. The idea that Melisandre is messing with forces she doesn't fully understand, and she is not actually like communing with R'hllor.
I'm so mad that that's the name of that theory.
It's such a she has just found out that there is a system of magic in which you can consume people and use their powers, use their soul, use their blood for terrible things, and that actually anybody is capable of doing that, and she just thinks she's communing with a god.
I think that's very reasonable. I'm also fond of the idea that one of the things that Melisandre actually can do is good future sight. She can do reliable future sight.
She's just bad at interpreting her own visions.
And these ones she was confident in.
Yeah.
So she foresaw them and then did this for-show sacrifice for Stannis to make it look like she caused it.
Oh.
Like that story of Columbus and the eclipse.
I don't know this one.
You don't know the story? Columbus, when he was on Hispaniola,
he knew there'd be an eclipse. Right?
He said to the effect of, if you don't do what I say, I will blot out the sun in 3 days. And he happened to know that this could be apocryphal. That he happened to know there'd be a solar eclipse that day, and because he had that advanced knowledge, he was made to appear much more powerful than he actually is.
It's like when I told people I would blot out the sun across the eastern seaboard down in the United States.
Unless they subscribe. Yeah.
No, unless I listen to my album. And then it happened. Somebody didn't listen.
And hey, if you don't subscribe, I will blot out the sun over your house.
If you live in Australia in how many years?
2028.
In 2020,
I'll blot out the sun over Sydney in 2028.
Unless you subscribe.
Right now.
Glidus.
Got him. All right. So let's set that idea aside, that it's like completely, that all of her powers are completely fake. Let's set that aside and suppose that this sacrifice did actually have some influence on the course. And I can see the look on your face. I'm so glad that we're recording together. I can see the look on your face because that look says I thought up another joke. So go ahead.
It wasn't half baked.
Oh, okay, all right. I love recording in person. It's so much better. Stannis burns the leech. They burn the leeches. Varys is a Blackfire.
Yeah.
Supposing Varys is Blackfire. Let's suppose that the sorcerer knew that.
Yeah, he was able to tell. He like, oh, this person seems to have. This goes to the king's blood is Valyrian ancestry, and that makes sense too. For the only people we know who seem to be able to ride dragons are Valyrians, and that's tied to their blood in some way. It could have been a thing, and also notably the continent they're from exploded, which is not a normal thing for continents to do.
Yeah.
And like you could say there's a massive volcano there, and that's probably true, but how even if we can talk about the super volcano that's under North America, even people hyped it up as like world ending. It's world transforming, but if you live outside of the main radius, you're gonna get a couple years of heavy ash fall. And then it'll be mostly the same afterwards, except the world will be much cooler.
Yes.
And honestly, only much cooler for another couple decades, and then that too will dissipate.
Yeah. Your problem will be getting food, not exploding.
Yes. An entire continent exploded and is never recovered.
Yeah. In 300 years.
Some magic fuckery went on there.
Yes. Okay. By the way, the story of Varys comes in the same chapter where Tyrion learns about the death of Courtney Penrose and the mysterious circumstances surrounding the death of Renly Baratheon. Right, he learns about Melisandre Shadow Baby.
Yeah,
he learns about that.
Yes,
in the same chapter where Varys. So
he learns that magic is a thing. Right?
Yes,
indisputably. I recently did a reread of Clash. The scene with the Shadow Baby killing Renly is fucking straight up a horror scene.
It's terrifying.
It is a Lovecraft chapter that comes crashing out of nowhere in a regular conversation.
Yes. It really is. It's in the middle of a normal sentence.
In the middle of a normal sentence, H.P. Lovecraft's narrator comes through the door, murders a main character, dabs and leaves, and you're left picking up the pieces.
Yeah. Oh, man. Not to even mention the Shadow Baby scene from Davos' perspective under Storm's End is also terrifying.
Yes.
Anyway.
We get two of them, yes.
So, Zach, this is my Y episode. My Y episode is Varys' parts are used as a sacrifice.
What for?
Yes, because presumably it's not as high-speed communication.
Okay. Glass candles might not have been working fully until Dany woke her dragons, because they said glass candles are burning. Earth on Nightwalker's house, and the candles came on, stuff like that. It's a popular theory that glass candles only recently started working again because of Dany's magical ritual or something else that inspired it.
Sure.
But there's a shit ton of glass candles all over Old Town, by our understanding of it. Okay. Plenty of people claim to have glass candles. Maybe before, you needed King's Blood to use a glass candle to send messages, or to spy on somebody, or to do anything of that sort. Or glass candles are used to mind control people. That's another popular thing, or mess with people's dreams. Maybe it's a similar sort of thing, right? In order to, even if it's not high-speed communication, there's some forms of communication that require a magical equation basically going off, right? And King's Blood or Valyrian blood is necessity for it, basically.
This is reasonable. However, literally the only other related scene shows a death.
Yes.
Right. It's used as an assassination.
That's the rub.
Yes.
Every other time we see blood magic, it's to do something far more sinister.
Yes. So, this is Tom's Y episode, and Zach, I'm going to make you get out your phone right now. And you're going to do this research with me right along the same time.
Okay.
Zach, I think that this is lampshading a death caused by this sorcerer at the same time. This is an assassination. And I bet we can find out which one it is.
Maybe so. Let's go back to mind control. We have that chapter, the edited Pate chapter, where he very explicitly talks about glass candles and what they do, and somebody has one. Do you recall what it does in that deleted Pate chapter?
I don't.
I believe glass candles make you immortal is one of the potential things that they do.
Interesting.
So, it could be not just that you can use King, and also we know Mel is significantly older than she presents.
Yeah.
It could be that whatever communication was happening there in a language they didn't understand was with some sort of like being or thing that, or some sort of spell that advances the life of the person. That this person was very selfishly just expanding their own life using his king's blood. But then we have to ask the question, you got the whole kid there, right? And you told me might as well go die. You think you would get a hell of a lot more lifespan burning an entire child than just his genitalia.
Yeah, that's the other question here. Why not kill him?
Yeah.
Why not?
If you need king's blood, why would you either not burn him to get a bunch unless you have to immediately use it, sort of thing? But even then, why tell him just go fuck off? I already took your genitals.
Maybe
When he's got 2 hands, he's got 2 feet, he's got other parts of the body. You could, if you have a supply of king's blood, it's not the most humanitarian thing to do. You need to keep this person locked up so you can have another spell on standby every single time. If you only need a little bit, 10 fingers, 10 toes, you can make that last.
maybe it's like a Stannis thing where Stannis can't, like, his life force or whatever cannot sustain more than like a couple of spells.
Yeah.
So maybe once part of Varys's essence is used, there isn't more Varys essence to be used.
That's possible.
That's an interesting that would fill it, and it is consistent with, like, I don't know, maybe it takes time to grow back, and whatever this sorcerer wished for, like, I gotta go collect. I don't have time to take care of this fucking kid.
Yeah, I don't want to have to feed a kid to, like, wait 8 months for me to be able to use them in a ritual again, to then wait 8 months for me to be able to use them in a ritual again.
I have to go fight a war to like secure the throne that I just did or whatever. By the way, I have an estimate on Varys's castration.
Okay.
I have between 264 and 273 AC. 264 to 273.
264 to 273.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, wait. Now I have 258 to 266. Ooh, interesting.
Got some conflict.
Yeah. Ah. Estimated lifespan 258 to 266 is this person's best estimate.
Yeah, we're getting really in the weeds here because it's speculation based on speculation because we don't have a hard age for Varys.
Because he's very mysterious.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, there's no reason to believe that they are not both very old, like Melisandre.
Yeah.
Except that Varys hates
magic.
Yes.
So it'd be weird if he was using it.
Varys meets Illyrio between 263 and 270. Varys arrives in King's Landing to serve Aerys II in 278.
So here's some 263 things from the wiki.
Okay.
Eddard Stark is born. Tywin Lannister marries Joanna Lannister, and Queen Rhaella Targaryen has a miscarriage. Now,
Interesting.
I feel like just a little bit of blood to incite a miscarriage could be the way to do it. I just don't know what the voice would be saying back in the flame.
Well, I I read that.
In 264, Queen Rhaella Targaryen has another miscarriage.
Hang on. I could read that as follows. That the how to phrase that the voice is saying to the what everything the voice is saying is procedural, right? What do you want? Who are you? What do you want?
It's like communing with the devil sort of thing.
Yes, right there. And that would imply, if this is the case, that why can Varys hear it? But like Davos, who's in the room when they're burning the leeches, why can't Davos hear it? This implies that Stannis can hear it.
And Edric probably could hear it too.
That Edric can hear it too. Which would be interesting and could be confirmed. And maybe one day we will see that if anyone ever burns Davos's fingers.
That's true.
Yeah. Let's see.
This is a period where all of the Mad King's kids are dying that aren't Rhaegar and Viserys. Also, Tytos Lannister dies during this period.
That could be it.
There's also, where did this happen? Where was he? Was he in Myr?
Lys.
There's a death of the Tyrant of Tyrosh in this time period.
Interesting.
According to the wiki, Eliku Edoras, Tyrant of Tyrosh, poisoned by his queen. But that could be speculation, right? It was speculated he was poisoned by the queen, maybe. She only admitted to it under torture or something like that. But most of our main string of 30-somethings in the story are born during this period. Stannis is born, Eddard is born, Cersei is born. All during this period. Jaime also obviously born as well.
Yeah, the only notable death. It could just be the Tyrant of Tyrosh. Right, that fully could be it.
Yep.
Right? There's no reason that it couldn't be. It's not, hang on, I'm gonna click on this article. Let's see. Also known as Silver Tongue, was a wealthy merchant. The Band of Nine were a group of merchants, sellswords, and pirates who joined together to carve kingdoms out for themselves. They conquered the disputed lands. The Band of Nine meant to conquer Westeros for Maelys the First Blackfire and fought a war called the War of the Ninepenny Kings on the Stepstones against the Westerosi forces. The Bands of Nine were defeated there and Maelys was killed, while the remainder of the Band of Nine was defeated half a year later. Aloquo, known as the Tyrant of Tyrosh, would rule the Free City for 6 more years until he was poisoned by his queen. Interesting.
That's a possibility.
Yeah, I think that's a totally fine possibility. I also...
And that's why, he only knew I need to do one assassination. I'm only making one deal with the devil. I gotta kill one guy for political purposes, and I don't give a shit what happens to the kid afterwards.
Yeah.
It makes sense if it's Tyrosh, where it's not Tyrosh doesn't have a inheritance system like Westeros, where it feels like, if you have means to kill one person to, mess with Westerosi politics, there's a chance there are some other loose ends you really need to tie up also. It's not one thing to kill Aerion Brightflame, you also need to make sure his son never inherits.
Yes. Yeah.
If it's a Tyrant of Tyrosh, and you're there's going to be a power struggle afterwards, you just need to kill him and then tip off the person you want to win the power struggle the most ahead of time so they're prepared to make their case.
Yeah, if this is the case, the sorcerer assassinates him and then says, all right, kid, you fuck off. I gotta go run for re-election.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I had to go to the victory party that I just ensured happens.
Yeah. Huh. I mean, I think that is an unsatisfying answer.
Yep.
Not that it's an uninteresting answer. I think it's totally fine. Things can just be unrelated.
Yes.
However,
a description of the sorcerer?
We might do. I don't know. I will check in a moment. However, the other notable death in this time is Tytos Lannister.
Has a heart attack while visiting a mistress.
Yeah, has a heart attack on the way up the stairs. It absolutely could be the case that this sorcerer is like an assassin for hire, right? And Tywin hired him to kill his dad.
Yeah.
Very reasonable. Very.
Well, his dad is only 46 when he dies, so
Yeah.
he had plenty of life left to live. Now, granted, he does not strike us as the man who lives the most healthy life, because he is described as being rather like hard to rouse from his castle, and presumably he drinks quite a bit, since that seems to be a family trait.
Yeah. However, 44 still a little young for one of the richest people in the realm.
We have people who lived to 100, so
Yeah.
in this realm. He was a fat man, he loved eating cheese and cakes and drinking beer, so him dying of a heart attack is not unexpected. To go out with a widowmaker at 46 is not, like, the least plausible thing in the world. But it could also be magic. We've established magic exists. Let's see if we get anything else on his death.
Just learned that Tytos is a third son.
That is interesting.
Huh. Tywald and Tion were both killed before he became heir. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so yeah, there we go. I mean, yeah, I think that those are two fantastic options. Hang on, I'm gonna write them down. The Tyrant of Tyrosh and Tytos.
Tywin was in King's Landing when his dad died. And that is one of the places merchants stop in Westeros. Is they stop in the big stops are King's Landing and Old Town and Lannisport if you're hitting it from the other side. And what's the one in the north?
White Harbor.
White Harbor. Those are the big stops. Gulltown sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Huh.
There's one in the Riverlands that you occasionally stop at too. That's where Arya gets her boat.
Salt pans.
Salt pans.
Salt pans. Yeah.
Lesser known, but lesser stopped, but still traveled by merchants.
Yeah, they call her salty. Huh. Yeah, you know. Is that a Tywin thing to do? I mean, it kind of is.
He did later try to get his son killed, but he did it through more legal means. But he didn't have the power back then, and it's not like he won't break rules to kill people. We know from the way he killed the Rains.
And the Starks, for that matter.
Yeah. He's okay with extra legal means of murder if it accomplishes his goal, and if his goal is to whack his dad. The only thing I can't see there is we don't feel like he doesn't seem like the person who buys into mysticism. We never have that evidence of him. He is a cold and logical man by his own assessment. I feel like if there's a character who would say, fuck off, I don't think you can actually kill somebody with magic. I'm not saying he's the number one, but I'm saying he's on the list.
Yeah, but he is up there. Cersei's more likely to do that kind of shit.
But she was like,
yeah,
not even very much thought of at that point. So that's definitely Cersei would, yeah. If you say you can kill him with magic, kill him with magic, sort of thing.
You're right. Is there any precedent for? I mean, could it be the case that he just like said to Pycelle, make this happen?
Varys is the one being chopped. Pycelle, was he around?
Yeah, he was. I believe he was around through. Yeah. He was around during Jaehaerys' reign.
Okay.
Yeah, Jaehaerys II, maybe? Question mark.
Now we would have to get the evidence that Pycelle believes in magic, which Marwyn would probably disagree with.
Yeah, you're right.
Marwyn would be like, no, that fucker never wanted to hear about my magic. I was showing him all this cool fucking magic, and he's like, no, I want to do real things.
Maybe
I'm like, I'm doing real magic right here, man.
Maybe you're right. Who would want Tytos Lannister dead who believes in magic?
I don't know if there's a good Venn diagram spot here.
Yeah. All right.
Other than Maggie the Frogs, but Maggie of Frogs, but she could do it herself. Maggie the Frog. There we go.
You have no problem with the name of the Archon of Tyrosh that I could not read.
I can never say Maggie the Frog.
Maggie the Frog is tough.
Every single time I screw up Maggie the Frog, I say Maggie of Frogs.
Huh. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna go back to the drawing board. You riff. I'm gonna go back to the drawing board. Let me see what else we got here. What else? What else happened during this time? This is around the time of. No, that's later. Okay, so it's the time of the what's it called? The War of the Nine Penny Kings. The War of the Nine Penny Kings happened 6 years before that death. So let's see. The War of the Nine Penny Kings. Let's see the history of that. Date 260.
1 year before our bound here, 263 being the first date. The year before is when Jaehaerys II died of an illness. His only son Aerys was the throne, naming his friend Tywin Lannister as his hand, according to the wiki.
Yo, Aerys Targaryen.
Aerys Targaryen believes in
Aerys Targaryen. If there's one person
that could explain his sanity slippage too. If he believed himself to be responsible for his father's death, and it ate away, the guilt ate away at him.
Oh, just like Cersei.
Yeah.
Just like Cersei with her whole magic shit eating into her brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knowing that she killed somebody is like eating away at her. Aerys II went from somebody we thought to be more or less like not crazy and became crazier as he became older. If he had an insane amount of guilt that he never processed, that would sure go a long way to explaining that.
Yeah, let's see how Jaehaerys II died. Let's see. Died 262. Good pitch. Due to his delicate health, Jaehaerys was considered weak by many, but Sir Barristan Selmy, whom he raised to the Kingsguard, thought differently. Jaehaerys' reign lasted only 3 years, but he reigned well in those short years. He proved a capable king, restoring order to the kingdom, ending the Blackfire threat, and reconciling many of the great houses. In 262, after barely 3 years on the throne, King Jaehaerys II Targaryen died after a short illness, complaining of a sudden shortness of breath at the age of 37.
That is mysterious. That is way more mysterious than somebody who is morbidly obese having a heart attack at 46.
Oh, this is no.
I think we
got him.
I think that's our answer.
Oh, nice one, dude. Oh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That's sketchy.
That's
real sketchy. And of course, when Aerys comes to the throne, what he would say is, "My father was always sickly. He was always sickly. He was always unhealthy."
But being sickly does not mean dying of, shortness of breath in your 30s.
That sounds a lot like a heart attack. And a heart attack at 37 is I'm not going to say it's unheard of.
Something I worry about, but maybe not rationally.
Yeah. And heart attack is it's like the magical way to kill somebody, right?
Yeah. Or if he died of a stroke, that's another magical way. You mess with their blood flow.
Yes. Right, something subtle and quiet and quick. So that they can't scream about the demons they're seeing.
Yes.
Huh. Interesting. Okay, alright, let me see the history of Aerys. And see if we can line some of this up.
I'm trying to figure out the parameters for the age of Varys.
Let's see. Yep. Early life, yes. Aerys was a squire during the War of the Nine Penny Kings. He fought on the Stepstone, received his knighthood there at the age of 16. Aerys chose to be dubbed by his friend and by a knight and his friend Tywin. When King Aerys, see, it doesn't say. I wanted to see where he was at that time. But no, it just says when King Jaehaerys passed away from illness in 262, Aerys was crowned as King Aerys II. Oh, the new king removed many of the prominent officials at court, most of them old men brought in during the reign of his father and grandfather. Political reform immediately after turnover.
Yeah, he literally purges the entire court.
Yep. Aerys replaced many of them with younger men, including his friend Sir Tywin Lannister, impressed by the ruthlessness the man had shown when dealing in the Rain Tarbeck Revolt. Aerys named Tywin his Hand of the King. Oh my god, it was a coup! By both of them!
It was a auto coup, basically. The second you get legitimized power, you get rid of anybody who can stop you from having that power.
Scumlords! Both of them! They both killed their dads!
Maybe.
Scumlords!
I think it's the Aerys definitely, like, I can see using the magic to kill his father and then immediately getting in there and getting rid of anybody who can challenge him. I can see it.
So can I. It tracks for him and like anyone who respects Tywin Lannister.
Yeah.
That tracks for me. Yeah. Zach, did we find it? Did we do it?
I think that's a good theory. I think that's a good enough answer for what's happening there.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. How was this for a Y episode, Zach?
Pretty good.
Cool. I'm gonna circle that. I'm gonna circle Tywin. Or Jaehaerys. I think that it's this. In the comments below, if you disagree about this, please tell us. Please tell us why. I would love to know. I would love to hear your thoughts on this sort of thing. Because as soon as I heard that, my brain immediately was like, we can line that up. We can line that up with some historical event.
Yeah.
Like, why else have it in there? Unless
that's like event. George knows the causes of every death of every Targaryen. Like, otherwise he wouldn't have written such a clear and distinct line of succession with dates of death. Some of them have to be magic. somebody has to have a mysteriously like messed up death. Jaehaerys II only ruled for 3 years, and it would have been consequential if he continued ruling.
Yes.
And he could have, honestly, 37, he dies when Tywin is able to have kids. There is a non-zero chance he could have still been king in the books.
Yes. Yep. That was less than 40 years ago.
Yep.
He would have been king at 70. He'd be way younger than Aemon, that's for sure.
Yeah. He could live into his 70s and still be king.
Yeah. All right. Way to go. Nice. Yes. Let's go. We did it. All right, Zach, you got anything you want to say? I think that's an episode.
No, yeah.
I think that's an episode right there. It's a nice crisp one.
We got it in under 40 minutes, too.
Nice. Cool. Check out Zach's album. Check out the second channel if you want to see us talk about the board game adultery.
I guess it's going on the second channel.
Zach, say goodbye.
Goodbye.